Let me reset the room real quick. 4,100 people on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. If you could hit the like button, greatly
Yes,
appreciate it.
please. Love you dearly.
Like the video, share it. Let me ask you this question. So this is something that I've always been concerned about. Bear markets usually, and correct me if I'm wrong, bull markets usually last 7 years. And then bear markets last like 18 months on average, I believe, around that time. So we were in a 12-year bull market, which, like you said, is like the longest in history. And then we had the shortest bear market in history last year, which was only a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back in a bull market. So obviously that was a lot due to the government just printing money at unprecedented rate and pumped a lot of money into the economy, which helped us go back into a bull market. But it's one of these things where at some point in my brain, we have to go back into a prolonged bear market, or is that no longer the case where it's like, okay, bear markets might not happen anymore, like how they used to happen?
Great question. My good buddy JC Peretz likes to say there's always a bear market somewhere. So if you look around the market, and it's a global market, and it's a market of stocks, right? There's the stock market, but we always talk about the Dow, the S&P, the Russell, but then there's the global market of stocks. And if you look around, the Hang Seng fell 10% last week. Yeah. That's a technical correction. You look at the meme stocks, AMC and GameStop, even though they're up, whatever, 1,400, 1,200%, they're down 45, 50% from their highs. Crypto is in a technical bear market. There's always a bear market happening. It just depends on the asset class you're looking at or where you're looking around the world. So there's that. Are we going to have a bear market in the United States in the S&P 500 or the Dow? Yeah, we are going to have one. The fact is, though, and you mentioned it, that was the cutest little bear market in history. It hurt, that 35% drop, but it was cute. It lasted 5 minutes, right? Again, we had the support. But there's also this, and this is important. There are so many passive investors in the stock market right now, passively investing through their 401k, through their Roth IRA, through their own brokerage accounts. They're just setting and forgetting it through the robo-advisors. There's just a ton of money sitting there in the Vanguards and the Fidelity index funds of the world, right? It's heavy. It's like a big, heavy ship. It takes a lot to move that whole ship down and get passive investors to sell. Everybody's got a threshold, but for passive investors, this household across the United States and across the world sitting on all of this stock income, people have a very deep threshold before they're ready to throw in their hand. So we'll get a bear market. It may come soon, right? This is the worst 2 months of the stock market right now, August and September. We may get a correction here. We may fall into a bear. I doubt it. But in general, I just think the market is so heavy that we're going to get these things, but they're not going to last long. And the government now has this moral hazard where they're just not letting things fall that far. They're not letting the capital markets fall apart because they don't want a 2008, 2009 situation again.
Yeah, and if they did, I think in 2020, last year, we would have crashed through the 50% of the Dow. And what people are not remembering, in 1970, 1980, there wasn't as much quantitative easing. But as you mentioned, Caleb, the amount of people that are buying automatically and then the preaching of index funds was not present. Those two factors, like 1929, everyone was not automatically invested into 401ks or mutual fund plans. So those levers are dramatically different. And then, but the quantitative easing thing, because I know Rashad is a pessimist, like Rashad will make you prove your case to him. And the thing is, like, the quantitative easing part is tough because now you're building a house of cards, but as Caleb mentioned, you can't stop the quantitative easing, because if we do and the floor falls from underneath it, it'll be disastrous for many industries, many people, and many jobs will go away. So now it's this thing that you have to kind of keep in place, and probably for the next 20 something years, it will have to be in place until we reach a point of no return.